morning. Oyo mulala oyo ali mu Kamoli. Good morning. I hope you're good. Betrazemu okutandika okugula. So today is day 30 of the year 2023. Especially when you're busy, you have stuff to do. Good morning, Martha. So I hope you guys are doing well. Today we're going to be talking about the BMW, because a lot of people have been asking me about BMW, and I thought, well, why not talk about the BMW? So good morning, Mr. Cafero. So I read extensively about the BMW, and I'm going to be talking about the BMW in general. I'm not going to be talking about a specific BMW, because Toyota is Toyota, BMW is BMW, Volkswagen is Volkswagen. The maker is the same. Morning, Nathan. And because plenty of people keep asking about BMW, it's important that we have a video about it, so that bamanya wabagenda okugula BMW ateta tuddamu kubuuza kebeera bukebezi video eno, and they know what's good for them. Yeah. So we're going to be talking about BMW in general. Katiawo, the rest of you who have wanted to buy BMW will decide whether it's worth your money or not. Yeah. So the BMW X5, X6, the 320i, zona nga bwozimanyi. Of course, minus the electric one. We're not going to be, because the electric one is still new on the market. In abazungu benyini bakatandika okuzivugeza electric BMWs. So you'll find that really there is really little to talk about those basically electric cars, apart from the fact that they are very expensive to buy. So emotoka etuli maaso bagiyita supercar. I used to be in love with that thing. Yeah, but emotoka yote manyi nnaku. That's why you find that tour companies now left the super customs alone. They either drive drones or chigeges, because the super customs are very comfy cars, but you'll not be comfy in the pockets when you start fixing it. Yeah. Kateriyo sokalabi bachavuga omotoka bwabwe bafaayo. Today I saw someone went to the Bon and bought a Duet UBC. And I'm thinking about these guys in the Bons. They give them very like unbelievable offers. Like the rest of the cars start at 20 million and they give you a Duet at 12 million. Kanga mutu olabanga alonze noga katwale kano ka Duet ku million 12 ne yagari. I think that happens sometimes, because the weight of all cars, come on. Any car that has a Daihatsu engine has been proven not to be very durable in Uganda. Even the spares are quite expensive for any Daihatsu car. So before you buy a Daihatsu car, that's one thing you should know. So I spent the weekend trying to detox from all digital devices, laptops, phones, the internet and all. I got fever, but simanyi fever ava kuki, sina malaria, sina chi, ne temperature yange eri normal, naye ate mpulira ndi mulwadde. So that's how I am. Kyova olaba amaanyi njogeza matono. So omubiri ngulira mulwadde, but my temperature is very normal, and according to the doctors, I'm not sick. So they actually were giving me painkillers into why oyinza okuba just ebyokola mu gym byebikola ki byebikwa affecting but me I don't use painkillers. Then C class ya Charles yiyo bagiyita C class Primoya Benz mata njaba bulungi njaba steady kitanzita tikimalamu maani. Yeah, then I'll tell you, so I don't think they are given offers. I only think many people are ignorant, just as we were before meeting you, and so brokers do their work in diverting them and convincing their choices into such cars. I think so also because you go to a bond or nagamba broker a motor kenkute, I'm giving you 2 million if you get someone to buy it, and the broker will do anything to get someone to buy it. Now like a duet, anyone that has a mechanic, just a mechanic, which take it and a mechanic wa take it is again a bond mechanic on a gamba but duet, which take it. You don't kuja kongo kiriza broker kutegerere no malaga gula. Yeah, it's possible matter that it's fatigue. It's very possible. No fatigue from what? Nze naku zange ezokukola nga zijja buzi, like the week starting today up to like the second week of March kati wano ntandika okukola like serious working for me. The next few weeks are weeks where I work extra hard without rest. So zine naku jine myezi ejiyise mbadde sirina nnyona byenkola. Zabari hamu jabba kubira akarango. Kati Martha, can you drive amidst these lorries? Zino trailer nga zikuli mabbali. Guy wa trailer yari hamu. Simanyi oba mulaba kyagezaako okukola ambalage. Akivuddemu. Nembadde mu kiraba. Avuga bwatu because teina chana. It's just the headaches. Otherwise, we would not be driving like that. So today we're going to be talking about the BMW. If you wanted to buy a BMW at any moment, why you wanted to buy a BMW. Of course, most people that want to buy BMWs, they want to buy because of the status it gives you. And of course, there are people that I've seen that will tell you that when I bought this type of car, business improved. And it's true. A person that has a car, treating but a person that has a certain type of a car, like a Mercedes-Benz, for example, that's a Spacio. A person that has a Mercedes-Benz, for example, they don't get treated the same way like a person driving a Corolla. It's a fact. A person that has a BMW doesn't get treated the same way as a person driving a Raum, that Raum. You get, it's a fact. But then you have to do the math and think, is it worth it? Is the trouble worth it? Of course, driving a BMW is not the same as driving a Corolla. BMWs are much more comfortable, okay? Even in handling, those BMWs. And of course, just the fact that even holding a BMW key, okitegeera kiba kyamaanyi omuntu okuba nga akutte ekisinzo kya BMW. So I think it would make sense for people to want to buy BMWs. Okitegeera. However, remember when I was telling you guys that one thing I've learned nze nganze is that what you wear, what car you drive, only adds a lot of value on you oba tomanyi byokola. Nti oyambadde suuti anti abantu bakuwa omulimu olw'okuba oyambadde bulungi, it really works a lot bw'oba gwe nga gwe you don't speak value. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. Before we talk about the BMW, someone will tell you that the reason they want to buy a BMW is because the BMW adds something, some value to their kind of work. And I'm telling you that without value in you. If when people look at you, they don't see quality because ideally it should be that when people look at you, they know you for something, and that thing they know you for, you seem to be the best at it. Never, you're not the best, but ideally you should work to be the best. You get? If you seem to be the best, people will hardly mind the kinds of clothes you wear. Okay, of course you have to be smart. Like if it's a car, you have a car, wish you well, but try detoxifying your blood. Okay, I think I should try that. How do I do that, Patrick? Because you seem to have an idea. How do I do that using herbal? Yes, good morning, Chris Da Vinci. You get what I'm saying? In the past, we used to think that a person has to have a suit for them to get business. Okay? But I've come to realize that you don't really need to have a suit for you to get good business. You need to do good work. You need to. I'm sure you've heard of something saying, people saying, his reputation precedes him. You need to work so hard. You need to work so smart. You need to work consistently to the extent that your reputation precedes you. You having a Mercedes-Benz or a BMW is just an addition. I've got a BMW. What's the game? Nganebwali jidde ku boda bagamba oyo guy ino mumulaba yakyasinze mu ggwanga. I'm sure we've all seen people. We've all seen people that are too good at their jobs that you don't mind. Oba avuga, oba yambadde atya, you get it? Good morning, Brian. Good morning, Vincent. You get? I personally experienced it. A suit hasn't really influenced me getting business. I used to think, that's what I used to think. But then I realized that when you create a powerful brand, marketing, because I realized that the biggest reason why people want to buy BMWs is to improve their brand. Nti waba real estate agent, nti wajabwa ati batyamu naye avuga BMW. But the BMW doesn't have to speak. It's your reputation that should speak. If you're in real estate, people should buy from you because you're honest. Okay? And people will come to you because your guy tebatunda ampewo, or your guy tebasera, or your guy takali abuli location inungi, or your guy transfers abwezangua, or you get what I'm saying? They should not buy from you because you're driving a Kawondo. When people get to the point of buying from you because you drive a Kawondo, then you, as a business owner or as a brand, I think you're losing it. But that's my opinion as a marketer. You get what I'm saying? That's my opinion. It doesn't have to control what you do. The only reason you should buy a BMW is if you have a lot of money, and having a BMW is something that you just want. The way I will buy my Mercedes-Benz, I'll buy my Mercedes-Benz because, well, I can send a car with it, and why not have a Mercedes-Benz? I will not be buying a Mercedes-Benz because I want to improve my business. Now, on the other hand, you realize that buying a Mercedes-Benz, a BMW, a Volkswagen will definitely increase your business. Please buy them. I don't know if you get what I'm saying, because there are people that know that my quality of work is not good. Having a better car will definitely improve. You've seen people that come and park cars in front of their offices. Anyway, away from that, let's start talking BMWs. First of all, if anybody has bought a German car, a European car, let's just say good morning, Mohammed. If anybody has bought a European car, you will accept that European cars are very comfortable. I think it's also a psychological thing that probably they're not really that comfortable, but we already expect them to be comfortable. So when you sit, there is that perceived comfort that comes. European cars handle very well on the road, it's really steady. That's why it's very hard for you to find. When you go to police stations, it's very hard to find a Mercedes-Benz that got an accident. It's very hard to find a Volkswagen that got an accident. It's very hard to find a BMW that got an accident. It's very hard to find a Ford that got an accident. It's very hard, by the way. I drive by Kawempe police station almost every day. The only Mercedes-Benz I've seen at that police station, baji kwatandozanga number plates tezikwatagana. Oba yali ajivuga yita ina permit. Oba teyalina bepiira. They did not park that Mercedes-Benz at the police station because of an accident. Yet when you look at all Toyotas that are at that police station, it's accident. All Toyotas that are at that police station. When you look at all Suzukis at that police station, they are there because of accidents. When you look at all Hondas, they are all there because of accidents. So that should speak to the stability, the good handling of those European cars. You get? So I think that's another reason why people buy European cars, because the handling is quite good. Of course, Chimanyi, the way you're looking at my Corolla now, you also think that this car also has a good handling. But of course, European cars would be better. I know that for a fact. But I also know that for me to buy European cars, mbanetaga okubanga nyinamu kasente akawera. So you guys, I hope you're good. Mulaba nyambadde na jacket olwaleero. Empewo mbadde njiwulira, which is strange because Arthur never feels cold. These past 2 days I was feeling cold, and yeah. So Patrick has said that since I detoxified myself from the digital world, I should also detoxify my blood. Patrick, ngamba, what should I buy? What should I eat to detoxify? I know that one way you detoxify is by fasting. That's one thing I've decided not to do, because we only live once, and as long as I'm breathing, I'll eat. Because I know I will not live forever, I will eat. So as long as detoxifying involves me not eating, I will not do it. So tell me how I detoxify with eating or drinking. So BMW. Now you have to understand that BMWs, Mercedes-Benz, away from my friend Kasim's view, because my friend Kasim says Mercedes-Benz, I think the same thing applies to Volkswagen. The same thing happens to BMWs. I think that's something that almost everyone knows already. So they're going to spend money on them, and they are okay spending money on them. That's what Kasim says. If you watch that interview, Mercedes-Benz, you get what I'm saying? And Kasim has clients as far as Mubende. He goes as far as Mubende to go and fix cars, Mercedes-Benz. You get, and I'm sure that's the same thing happens with Volkswagen mechanics. The same thing happens with BMW mechanics. What they do is every person that is driving that type of car, but of course that sometimes it applies even to Toyotas. There are things that would die in my car, and I would not use the mechanic in Matuga, and I'll have to call my mechanic to come. But there are things that I go to a garage in Matuga, like kunyigamu bukono, kutekamu bushi, if you ngende Matuga, because those are very simple things. I think it's even cheaper to do it from Matuga. So BMW, one thing we need to understand is that BMW is a passion car. BMW is a passion car. A person that buys BMW definitely are passionate. Even people that buy Volkswagen, I think it's the same thing with Subarus. That people that buy Subarus are normally very passionate about them. Tamalaga, Subaru is not a car that someone works from home. I want to buy a car, and then they say, "Hey, can we look at Subaru?" You get. Whereas for us, like Toyota, someone can walk to a Bond and buy a Corolla and never get problems with it and never even regret buying a Corolla. You get.
Daddy,
Yeah.
Daddy, I can see someone very
So because Arthur, fasting is good, I have been fasting ever since this year started. Let me first pack. I've been fasting since this year started, and yet I live in a desert and still go for road work in the pesk of this desert heat. I feel amazing and I'm achieving both ways. Katuge Emanti oli mukusala gundi. Good morning Raymond. Emma oli mukusala weight. Good morning Mosh. Emma, you're cutting weight as well. So fasting actually helps you in a lot of ways, you as a person. Kanizasagala kusala weight yange emala. I just need to find a way to detoxify my blood without actually fasting. Because I find that we only live once, Emma. Eat your food. Anyway, let's talk about BMWs. I've been doing notes as well. So I don't want to say don't buy a BMW because never nakugamba don't buy a BMW. If you really want to buy a BMW, you'll buy a BMW. So we'll just go through reasons why sometimes BMWs will give you a headache. Okay. First thing you need to understand is that service for BMW is very expensive. Ruachi, you can't just go to a Shell or Total and service your BMW. You see, all these types of cars, every engine has a recommended oil because oils have different viscosity. Viscosity we have viscosity we have. So you need to understand that BMW has a recommended viscosity of oil for their cars, and that's not common. See oil go okusanga owa Shell nti bamuteke mu BMW era abantu ababikola kyo bulaba BMW zifa nnyo. Ojja kusanga nga oil wa 4 liters bwe ziba za 85,000 for example, nga oil wa BMW 4 liters are 250,000. Then you'll find that for you to do service of a BMW, you need to change the engine oil, you need to change the gearbox oil. You get? Okay. You'll find that you also need to change the air cleaner every time. Okay? Something that doesn't have to happen with my Toyota. But for one, I'm okay. And you'll find that with BMW, if you don't change the air filter often, or jafuna obuzibune engine jakutani kukuta wanya. That's why BMWs break down, because it's very hard to find a Ugandan that will actually take care of the service the way they are supposed to take care of it, because it's expensive. So when you're buying a used BMW on Ugandan roads, you're basically inheriting problems from another person. So because service is expensive, that's why they can literally not afford it. Just a minute, guys. So expensive service of BMW is one of the reasons why people have a lot of trouble picking you live from Lira Subaru Forester at 7 million. It's a good deal, depends on the condition. Yeah, but it can be a good deal. Every car at 7 million can be a good deal depending on the condition. So you have to inspect and try as much as possible to not to buy turbocharged cars. Turbocharged cars are not for what's the delicate way to say it? Turbocharged cars are expensive basically. So try as much as possible not to buy turbocharged Subaru. We buy a turbocharged. So of course the service is expensive. Okay, and then there is this problem with BMWs that mostly happens with SUVs. The X5, X6 is the timing chain. Ekadiwa urumune emenyeka. Okitegeera the timing chain in the BMW SUVs mostly. Okitegeera. Tabano atona atambulira ddala nga kitaawe.
Everything does it like my dad.
Why? Kitabani kyo nga kitambulira ddala nga gwe n'okutunda kitunulira ddala nga gwe. Okimanyi? Bannange! Bulungi. Abavubuka we bali. Ena anampa between olw'enkya n'olwokusatu.
I think he can. You call him up.
Kale.
Kale.
Banna ekitambulira ddala nga kitaawe baki. So of course the timing change, but this happens with SUVs mostly, X5, X6, and we both know that mostly with those German cars, okay, with those German cars, timing belt over timing chain we kutuka. A lot of things in the engine get spoiled. The valves can get spoiled. Ochitegeera zichama. Newesanga if the timing belt, like Volkswagens, is on chirabiddeko. Timing belt wegeza ne kutuka bwet. You have to get the cylinder head off because there are so many things for you to fix. You get. So that's one reason sometimes your neighbor or your friend gabada avuge moroka ye German or a timing belt yakutuse. Naye mali emyezi ngebiri ngatavuga motoka. Why? Because there are a lot of things that they need to fix. Olwolukobo olukolaki okukutuka okitegeera. Then the other thing that happens with now BMWs is you see these bolts emisumali gye basibisa mu yingini kusiba mu kiye, most of them are aluminium. Okay, and I think the reason why they use aluminium is simple. Nti aluminium is light. Okay, aluminium is light. Kiyambako emmotoka okuba nga ate tezitowa nnyo nnyo okitegeera. But you realize aluminium, bw'osumula obusumali bwa aluminium, most of the times you'll have to replace them, put new ones. You see, bino ebintu bya Toyota, emisumali osobola gisibamu emirundi nga 10. But with the aluminium bolts, the moment you remove the bolt, akasumali bw'okajjamu inateekamu kaya. Kyobola nti emmotoka za Germany ezimu ojja kuzisanga nga emisumali gisumulukuka. The Golf that I used to drive, yatuuka nemba nga nvuga ogenda uwiranga emipiira ebintu bivudde ku mipiira. It's because of the bolts. And I think bano abasajja bamanya. So when they put a bolt like this and another bolt, they put a lock to hold those aluminium bolts, because the aluminium bolts kasigala kesumulula bwe kati katukanga tekakyanywerayo. So that's another thing that you need to realize with BMWs, and I think with German cars they try as much as possible to use light things, especially now in the modern age, and those light materials, I think the lightest metal is aluminium, and it's not good. So that's another thing that you need to understand. And there's something here that I'll only say in the end. But the other thing, and majority of the content that I've been reading has been of people that actually buy BMWs and you need to understand, for us in Uganda, we buy a BMW, or basically we buy all our cars when they are about 100,000, 150,000, 200,000 kilometers on the clock. 200,000 kilometers on the odometer is a lot of mileage. A lot of mileage. I'll tell you that my car has 253,000 kilometers and I'm going to change the engine. Of course, I don't have to change the engine, but I'm telling you that any cautious person would be changing an engine. You can imagine Corolla kanye, which is very easy to maintain, which on the clock. I'm actually going to change the engine. What would happen with a BMW? Go sit in your place, Aban. Thank you. So what would happen with a BMW G-String that has been poorly serviced? What would happen with a BMW X6 that has been poorly serviced? You get what I'm saying? So you will find that a BMW that has been poorly serviced at 250,000, you should actually be buying a new engine. But because the engine is expensive, no one is going to buy a new engine. So katogenda jigula bwetyo with its poor service history, with an engine that is almost blowing, ontegeera, and then you inherit those problems. Okitegeera. And of course, the turbos, like I've said, I've just been telling the person that wanted to buy a Subaru. Turbo-charged cars are very hard to maintain. I want you to understand that one reason why the Kawundos, the Harriers last on the road is because you don't find any turbo-charged Harrier. And because you don't find, because you don't find a turbo-charged Harrier, they last. Turbos, first of all, you need to understand that turbos are very expensive to replace. At every single when a turbo dies, you just have to buy and put it back. Like a turbo ya Subaru, between 700,000 and 3 million, depending. Of course, depending on availability, depending on who is selling to you, depending on how much you need it. You get. So you can imagine something that is not an engine. You buy it at 700,000. Atenga, you don't buy it knowing that when you circle when tomorrow again kuterera. Because sometimes some problems come and a mechanic will tell you that the trouble.
When I'm coming,
talk to him nicely. Sometimes the mechanic will tell you that the trouble is the trouble is the turbo. You buy a turbo when the trouble is not really the turbo. You get what I'm saying? Turbo. You get what I'm saying? So that you buy a turbo when it's actually not the problem. So go full million asatu or go turbo or jisaku engine, then you realize it's actually the engine that had a problem. You get. So a turbo charged engine any day muzirekira abalodi. Bobatoli mu road moroka erina turbo jireke. You just realize all the cars that last long on the road. I told you to talk nicely to him. All the cars that stay on the road for a very long time are not turbocharged because turbos complicate things. Some of the cars that have turbos, we have Super Custom, we have Nissan Terrano, we have Isuzu Bighorn, we have some Escudos have turbos and they don't last on the road. Subarus that have turbos, I have a friend who actually failed to maintain a Subaru that had a turbo. Najitunda yalina mpya nagulamu akali simple akatalina turbo. Now when you look at cars that don't have turbo, zero katika Corolla kange tekalina turbo. Okitegeera. Turbo cars should emotoka za turbo twalizirekedde bali ababede, members of parliament, ministers, guys that drive race cars, because the turbo basically gives your car extra power. Okitegeera. And that extra power doesn't come cheap. So BMWs that have turbos also have turbo failure. Very common. So you need to understand that. Then I think these guys have a lot of plastic things. Most German cars have plastic things. You'll find that the water pump is a Toyota. Smart. Come when you're putting behind. They have plastic things. You see, the water pump for a Toyota, chuma, it's metallic. But the water pump for BMW is plastic. And we both know plastic can only handle too much heat. Can only handle too much heat for long. So whenever the heat goes through, the cycle of water that is very hot goes through, with time it will break down. And the water pump doesn't come cheap. You guys need to understand, European cars, all spare parts are not cheap. So the water pump will break down often. That's why you find that BMW is overheat. Okay?
Bye, Daddy.
Bye. BMWs overheat a lot. Why? Because of the water pump. And water pumps don't even warn. Toyota. The water pumps don't warn. Okay. Bye.
Bye, Daddy.
Bye. The water pumps break down. The same thing that happens with radiator. They're like joints from the radiator to the chiseke. You see those pipes that take water to the engine? They have joints. Those joints too are plastic. Even with Toyota, the joints are plastic. And that's why we have a lot of trouble with the joints. I replaced my joint, I think 2 times since I bought this car because it's plastic. Plastic. I know even the metallic ones will probably rust, but the plastic ones cannot hold so much under a lot of heat. So the plastic parts are very risky. Even the radiators. I think the thing that happens with the Mini Cooper, the Mini Coopers have the biggest problem with Mini Coopers is the cooling system. The cooling system of the Mini Cooper, because most of these things are plastic, they break down a lot, and they are very expensive to maintain. Which take it, and basically this will lead to overheating. And I mean, Cooper, where you go around and ask, is the cooling system, because of those plastic multi-parts, plastic thermostat. Of course, BMW has a thermostat issue, but even Range Rover has thermostat issues, by the way, Range Rovers. But all cars will have thermostat issues. But what Ugandan mechanics do is they remove the thermostats from the car. What the thermostat does is the thermostat, water goes through the thermostat to go to the engine. So the thermostat senses the temperature, and then it opens for water to go through. You get what I'm saying? But if a thermostat is failing, it will not be opening at the time that it needs to open. It will not be opening at the time that it needs to open, and that might lead to overheating. So kachewako the thermostat, you can either put holes in the thermostat, regardless of what, or you just remove the thermostat. Now Ugandan mechanics just remove the thermostats. Because when the thermostat is there, it might fail to start to open, and then a moroka kuchamuka. Sometimes abantu abayine moroka empyanga zichamuka, the thermostat is the issue. So thermostat is an issue with most German cars, because abantu have moroka za German. Bamakanika babo olumu tebabijjamu ebyo ebintu. Naye nga ebintu ebimu tetubyetaaga Uganda wano, because we live in tropics. These are tropics, we already are warm. But the thermostat bagyetaaga nnyo because obudde bwabwe ebiseera ebimu buba bunnyogovu. So they need the cars to actually sense through the thermostat that now we need water. Wakitegeera ojasanga omuntu abantu nti he can drive the car for like 10 kilometers without it getting to optimum temperature. That's why for them it's important that they start the car and leave it to run for like a minute before they actually start moving. Why they need to do that is because their temperature is low, and because of the low temperature they need to wait for the engine to warm up. Now if you don't really need the car to warm up because we already warm. Imoroka eyo gikoleze dakiika 30 seconds asatu ebe etandise okubuguma. Eyo bagiyita kawundo 2.4 eyo tuli mu maaso. So the other issue that happens with the BMW is and this you'll probably realize namwe abagala okugula zino emoroka endala, simanya Volkswagen, simanya Mercedes Benz. Good morning Safina. Is that ziba ne oil leaks ebiseera ebimu, but the oil leaks mostly happen because abantu ababeera n'emoroka zino tebazifaako. Ebiseera ebimu baba baagala ozifaako naye nga tebasobola kukola ki kuzifaako because okufa ku mmoroka ezo kwa bbeeyi. Kati omuntu akubamu akafaananyi, the top cover seal, my top cover seal, the top cover seal is a seal that creates sealing because between the top cover and the cylinder head, which take, and someone will imagine the top cover seal of my car is 30,000. The top cover seal of a Vit is 50,000. Katoja kusanga top cover seal ya BMW eri 140. Kato muntu bamuganye ntwalo 10 nagula ka seal omalo ogule ekidagala kya mutwalo mali makanika omweye emitwalo na because bamakanika ba European cars si barayisi. Olinga agamba atugireke enjira njivugirayo nja kujuzaawo oil. You get, and that's how the leakages come, because that oil goes down ogenda okulaba nga ne seal endala naye nafuye because kati awo the moment the seal gets weak the engine starts getting oil inside. Mukalabe karavfo kako karavfo mukalabi ate waliwo kino kiddayatusu. Yeah, so so you need to understand that majority of the problems actually with BMWs and European cars happen because people either don't know or they cannot afford to properly maintain these cars, and it's general. Katugende ku Benz, katugende ku chi, but ate oyinza okusanga Benz is much more cheaper to maintain than even BMW. So expensive parts and oils, you get, because the parts are expensive. Kebere clutch for people that drive automatics, kebere gearbox nti ku replacing a gearbox, kakibere kugula radiator, kakibere kugula fuel pump. You'll find that majority of the times when the fuel pump of a car like a BMW breaks down, the owner of this car, instead of buying a BMW fuel pump, agenda kutetenkanya batekemu ya Toyota. Montegere, and they put a Toyota fuel pump in a BMW, the fuel pressure will not be that prescribed by BMW. It's a fact. There is a reason why BMW and Toyota are different. I person will be driving this car, ngatebera na manyi, but andiko muguza plaga, but andiko muguza all these other things. Nenga, the real trouble was the fuel pump that he put in is not for that car. But then you realize that because the fuel pump of a BMW is 500,000 and you can get the fuel pump of a Toyota, all part of it which is needed, at around 60k, to take him like a Toyota, and they will do that, and most people do that. I've seen Volkswagen mechanics do that for their clients. Namgane bobato sobodet we atu inaka option tuguleo bakaita kacha echenda cha fuel pump cha Toyota tuchitekemu, and people do that, and I'm thinking that also will cause troubles for the car, because a car for a car to have good ignition, to have good power, it needs air, it needs fuel, and it needs and a spark. Kati bwojiwa amafuta agatamala emoroka eyo ejja kwonona yingine kubeerwana nnyo kukola, you get, and that's why you find, like, how many BMWs have you seen on the road? None. Yiri. But is that a BMW though? If you look at the maroon Noah, there is a white car in front there that looks like a BMW. No, it actually be a BMW. So I can actually drive a full day without seeing a BMW on the road. It's not accidental. Now, I'm not saying don't buy a BMW because they are not common. That is a decision I'm leaving to you, for you to make your own decision. Now, of course, one of the problems that BMWs have is also the fuel issues. Because fuel pumps are expensive, but mechanics are forced to clear for their clients, because the clients cannot afford to buy the expensive fuel pumps for the BMWs. So the mechanics are forced to improvise to keep the cars on the road. You get, and I'm sure if you found a BMW breaking down on the road, it will be something related to power. And that only mostly happens when the air is insufficient, the fuel is insufficient, or the spark is insufficient. You need to look at these things. Good morning, Safina, Mwesigwa, good morning, Caesar. When your car doesn't have power, look at these three things. Air. Is it getting enough air? Okay. 2, fuel. Is it getting the recommended fuel pressure? 3, is it getting the right spark? And the right spark can be influenced by the spark plug coils. It can be influenced by the spark plugs themselves. It can be influenced by oil leaks inside the engine, because when oil leaks onto the spark plugs, the spark plugs will not be engere moroke yimarake emirembe moroke ekyo kimarako emirembe kisikirasi kikyo bannange kyali soba oli kikyo it doesn't really look that nice but yemoroka gireke Mercedes Benz mama nyabo yemoroka bwendigagawala njagulayo kibenzi kyange nkiteeka just kukitunulangako. You know how they say that abasajja babayo n'abakazi b'emikolo njagulayo benzi yange moroka ya mikolo na meeting emikolo ne meeting yeah. So you need to understand power. If your car starts losing power, and I proved it with my Corolla, it was losing power. We changed the spark plugs, the fuel pump, fuel pressure was okay, and then the actual problem was the air cleaner was dirty. So I decided since then that every second service I do, I'll change the air cleaner. Every second service I'll do, I change the air cleaner. So air, spark, fuel, air, spark, fuel, air, spark, fuel, air, spark, fuel. Air, spark, fuel results into power. Air, spark, fuel. Yeah. So the other issue, and this is a very serious issue with BMW and European cars. I think people who own VWs and BMWs have to service in time, like any other car, and also buy the right parts. They aren't bad cars per se. But you see, the thing that happens, Isaac, you can't have a car that everyone worldwide is complaining about and you think that it's not that bad. Globally, people are complaining about BMWs. Actually, they are saying a BMW is a good car for enthusiasts. Omuntu ali enthusiastic ye muntu agamba nti moroka njajjegola njiteeka nganze bwe nganja njagula kibenzi kyange nkiteekewo nga kya mikolo. That's the enthusiasts they talk about. The BMW should be bought by enthusiasts, car enthusiasts. Nti yagigula because ajagala tafaayo obachi. They are ready to insert any kind of money in that car. Ajagala bwagazi. Okitegeera. But a BMW is not a car that you buy as a daily driver. Togenda givuga buli lunaku. Nti emmoroka yo gyogenda nga mu kyalo. Okitegeera eh? So that and globally this is something that they say techiri Uganda wokka. So you can't tell me that an American that can buy a BMW brand new is telling you the issues. Ye byafunanga emmoroka agiguze empya. Okay? Because even if you went to the streets of the US, let's say I don't know if you're here or Seth, the guys that are abroad abavugire emmoroka ebweru, how many BMWs you guys see on the road? Because that should tell us. Tuyinza okuba ffe Uganda ffe tutazimanyi BMW. Okitegeera. But you'll also find that even in the UK, even in Germany, nga nabo basinga kuvuga Toyota. Okitegeera. So it can't be accidental that globally ne bali ababede abatusingamu kasente nabo BMW bazivuga mu kaseera nga balinawo kasente naye nga abeerawo n'akamoroka akalala. It cannot be that fate tutegeera nnyo okubasinga. Okitegeera. BMWs are good cars, Mercedes Benz are good cars. Kajjamu keno nga nkabaze bubi. You see that car Paso there? That's like a 2009, 2010. Eh? That Paso there in front of us. It really looks nice. I hope it's a 1.3. Because this is something that you would drive. Eh? But of course this is like still new, very new. It's a UBM. He has not driven it even for 3 months. Yeah, so you need to understand, yes, the service is people should do service, but what we want, there is a will and there is ability. Most people have the will to do service of their BMWs because bazagara okutusinga, but they don't have the ability because they are very expensive. For example, Kasim told us the Mercedes-Benz service can cost you about 500,000 to 600. every time you do service. But service, full service for my Corolla will not go beyond 200,000. Full service. I've put CC, I've put new brake fluid, I've put new coolant, new engine oil, an air cleaner. Sinza kuweza mitwala abiri. Okitegeera. Bwonyinza okuyingirako mwaga abiri nempitawo composite brakes nga nazo nzikyusizza. Okitegeera. That's the only way that I could go with the normal budget. But normal service for a Toyota car is normally 150. Nogikyusizza. Okitegeera. Naye bajja kugamba air cleaner ya BMW ya mitwalo 14. Okitegeera. Kati imagine someone abadde avuga paso nga yeewanisibwa nti naga wakangula BMW nga paso service ya paso ibadde ya mitwalo 15 nga kati ku luno oil ekawa 15 air cleaner ya 15 ago saa 3. You get what I'm saying? Then the fuel oil filter is 50k. That's 350. Then they'll tell you labor for service will be 50. That's 400. Then they'll tell you, but you need also change the gearbox oil at 150. That's already 500,000. You get what I'm saying? So a person will not do all that. They will do the essential. Let's change the engine oil and I drive. And that's exactly what they will do. And that's why the BMWs keep breaking down. But of course, the other thing that these cars have as a problem is they have a lot of engine failures. That's one thing we need to not ignore. But the engine failures will mostly happen because of people putting poor oils, like you driving to and you do service for your BMW. That's something you should not be doing. But people do it because some designers are shell. They want to tell them Helix way. Which and Helix is not a prescribed oil for BMW. Bakama baffe baabo baagala kuyitawo nino itamanyi mmotoka tumuviiridde naye tamanyi mmotoka mbulire kuba bugombe naye kapaso kano kalabise bulungi baaba simanyi oba nze nkalaba nze tena ekimotoka kikalu niweebuuza lwaki tebakeera bukeezi mu security yali wadde 11 aba yatuuse dda ku workstation ye naye essaawa zigenda mu 3 oyitambula butambuzi. So BMWs kyekyo. All in all, one thing you need to understand about BMWs, everything that can break will eventually break. Everything that can fail will eventually fail. So what advice do I have for you? I actually did not remove the thermostat from my new car. Does it mean really I have to get out? Thank you for the information. No, you may not have to remove it, but just know sometimes your car might overheat. And the reason it's overheating is not because there is anything wrong, but the thermostat too can nekoa like any part. And the way your thermostat works is that when the water gets to optimum temperature, or when the engine gets to optimum temperature, then the thermostat opens for the water to go through. But you realize in Uganda we don't need the thermostat to decide for us. We already in hot temperatures. So ojja kwesanga nga thermostat sengefa etuuka neba nga tekyagulira mazzi obanga amazzi gegulira tegamala. It's just that the water sometimes may not be enough. Okay? Why? Because we live in hot temperatures. And then you realize that sometimes your car temperature gauge goes a little higher than normal. Until one time it overheats. Mechanics remove these thermostats, but most of the times they remove the thermostats when the car starts overheating. Because it's the first thing they will do. Yeah, but you can talk to your mechanic and see what they think. But omugamba n'amanya nti in case your car starts overheating, the first remedy should be to remove the thermostat, because you get what I'm saying. So but it doesn't necessarily have to be the problem that the thermostat is the issue. Yeah. So BMW, everything that can fail will fail. Good morning, October. So when you're buying a BMW, Ideally, you should buy it when you have a lot of money. Buy BMW when you have a lot of money. It's a fact. Okitegeera bw'oba ng'okyetetenkanya ng'olinga Arthur ng'okyali mu survival mode nga wavaayo eri wansi naye ng'oli mu survival mode, BMW gikola ki? Giveeko ogira ovuga Corolla yo, ogira ovuga Space yo, ogira ovuga Paso, ogira ovuga Wish. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. You be driving those common cars. Ne kawundo giveeko kuba ejja kukunywa ekuzzeeyo wansi. You drive the manageable cars, fuel wise and garage wise, and cars that have some good resale. In case you need to resell that car and buy another one, ate tekijja kuwa nnyo obuzibu kugijjako. Kitegeera. Yeah, so that's all I had about BMW, guys, and I have to go because siwulira bulungi nnyo. Yeah, so today I will not go all the way because, well, I don't feel so good. That's why mbadde njogera nga atayogera. Naye ate I'm okay. Bwe bankebera omusaayi I'm okay. Maybe it's just fatigue. But then if it's fatigue, ngeekedde. Eri mu kweraga bwerazi because I'm just starting. Like my this starting now is a very busy period for me. Nkola nensula nga seba se nakwebaka starting like this week onwards for like the next 2 to 3 months. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for being part of this live broadcast. It really means a lot that you take the time to be part of this broadcast. Don't forget, I do pre-purchase inspection at a cost of only 400,000. If you want to buy a car and you don't want to buy a bad car, you don't want to get a bad deal, I'm the person to trust. I come with a mechanic, definitely, to make sure that your car is not only mechanically good, but we also do background checks on the car to make sure make sure the paperwork checks out. What we have done is that if you buy a car with us, your transfer should be done in 1 week. Your transfer should be done in 1 week, and if it's not, if it's not going to be done in 1 week, we'll definitely tell you why the transfer won't be done in 1 week. But ideally, I never buy a car when the transfer will not be done that very week. We do all those background checks because finding a car is not as easy as you going to one place and buy a car. Normally, that's the mistake that people make. There is always a better deal than what you have seen. It's just that people get excited. They walk into a bond and they look at the first car they look at because it really looks nice and all, and then they pay. You should actually go to a number of bonds and then see what's the best offer in terms of mileage, in terms of looks, in terms of the comfort, in terms of prices. And that's basically why you pay 400,000. And I'll tell you that paying 400,000 looks like it's a lot of money, but 400,000 going to save about 6 million is very little money. And yes, I've helped people save a lot of money. Either the people that have not bought with me will actually realize if they went back to the market now and tried to probably sell their car, they would know. Emmotoka tuzigula ku bbeeyi ya busuubuzi zonna kebe ya bondi tugula emmotoka ku bbeeyi nga bw'oyagala okuddamu okutunda. And one time I was talking to one of my clients, I was installing a tracking device, and I was telling him, okay, he was telling me that Arthur nze emmotoka nga tezinsala, and I asked him how he buys. Nangamba ye bw'aba agula emmotoka agulanga musuubuzi. That's when people don't know. Oyina okumanya bwemba omusuubuzi agula ku ssente mmeka eno emmotoka ng'aba agisuubula. And sometimes that's one thing that you may not know you get. So anyway, that's the pre-purchase inspection service that we do, 400,000 only. And the turnaround time normally that I have is 1 day. 1 day, maximum 2 days, you have a car. If you don't have a car by the second day, then either your budget is very small or you don't know what you want. And the only person we have failed to get a car for yali tamanyi kyayagala. Yali ogu twatambula ennaku 3 n'alema okufuna emmotoka. Twalimu abantu nalina abaclient babiri. Omuntu omulala gwe yali naye yali Brian n'afuna emmotoka n'agenda. And I even helped other 2 people get cars nga ye tannafuna. Ne mukwasa makanika ne muga gonnemye ne kakati tamufuniranga mmotoka. That's the only person we have failed to get a car for. apparently at the time he believed that sente zampa nyina zivuga mu mafuta nze sirina kulyako yadde ekikumi naye I think that wasn't really the issue. I think he didn't really have the money to buy a car. Okitegeera ye muntu yekka sijja kwogera linnya lye naye ye muntu yekka gwe twalemereddwa okufunira emmotoka ennungi kuba n'emmotoka ennungi twazimulaganga naye ng'era tazaagala. So we were chatting with my mechanic and we were thinking naye guy on like ati alina sente za mmotoka okitegeera, which is okay. Yeah, but that's the only person we have failed to not find a car for. Thank you very much, Patrick, Martha, Emma, Nathan, Patrick, Chris Da Vinci, Vincent, Seth, Muhammad, Mosh, Raymond, Bernard, Safina, Isaac, Rashid, Gideon, October, and Charles. Thank you very much for being part of this broadcast. It really means a lot. I don't take it for granted. If you have bought a car recently, you should put a tracking device. You know, a tracking device looks like it's a very expensive piece of gadget. It looks like it's useless. It's a toy car. Put a tracking device in your car because your car is your asset. In that way, your car is your asset. Ojja kutambula ojja ne kamunguluza ajja kukwata otuleko ne wansi ogamu musajja atutte emmotoka yange. The money you will spend in trying to recover the car will be too much compared to how much you'd put in a tracking device, because the tracking device you can recover your car in like 3 hours maximum. Which take it from the time you realize that your car has been taken. Which take it, but your car is your asset. Please protect it. Olawa muteka kufuru ku toilet. Why wouldn't you put a padlock on your car? So buy a tracking device. My tracking devices are between 350 to 450k. You can know your car's location in real time. You can turn off the engine using your mobile phone. Newoberango London. You can turn off the engine of your car from London in Kampala. You get what I'm saying? You can see where your car has been in the last 1 hour, 2 hours, 24 hours, even a year. You can even see the speed that person was driving if it were not you. Then you can get alerts every time the engine is turned on, every time the car idles. You can get alerts every time the car is parked for like a specific period of time. It's a very good device. Actually, the other device that is 450, you can actually call the device and you hear what people in the car are saying. So, but your car is your asset. You take a kufuru. Why wouldn't you put a padlock on your own car? Because a motor could use $1,200,000 mutano. Nengo we don't take a tracking device chikumenya. Webana ajitwala. Ate tubiyogera nga abasaga. There is a friend of mine. Tuzanya naye katemba waffe. Musajja mukuluko kale. Namugamba nyomanyi. Ebiseera ebyo kapesa ke kaali kakola ti yali tracker. Nemuga ateeka akapesa mu mmotoka. Naye ate kijja kwewuunyisa nti kakapesa emmotoka basigala bagitwala. Mbuuza ntya nti emmotoka eyo bagisindika paka. Naye ate tracker emmotoka talina bwagitwala. Tracker ne bwagisindika n'agijjawo omunoonya. Naye akapesa era ajja kanoonya obupesa obwo, those security switches, we all know where they are located. You'll either put them on the dashboard somewhere here, you'll put it here under the seat here or this side, you'll put it there in the glove compartment, you'll put it up here. Tumanya obupesa obwo bubeera. I think these mechanics be able to take them. So I normally tell people, if you're going to put a tracking device in your car, you don't tell anyone. You don't even tell your brother. You don't even tell your wife. Put a tracking device, go CDK. You leave the only person that has put the tracker in the car to know, and you. Now yeah, sometimes someone comes to put a tracker in the car, najja ne family yonna. Abantu bonna mu family ne babanga bamanyi nti moroka erimu tracker. And you know when something is known by more than 2 people, more than 1 person, let's say, because kata mu family yo buli muntu aba akimanyi. Era bwe nayitanga abaga ndo mmanyi moroka ya Athel mu tracker. Ando mmanyi moroka ya Athel mu tracker. Uya afa ku bintu bye. So the entire village will know that your car has a tracking device. So the time they come to take it, the first thing they'll do is look for a tracking device. You get what I'm saying? So when you put a tracking device in your car, don't tell anyone. Let the person that has put the tracking device for you and you know that the car has a tracking device. You get what I'm saying? Then I also sell car alarm systems. Car alarm systems are 250k only. Yeah, that includes installation and delivering it to you. Yeah. So that's all I have to say. We'll see each other tomorrow, same time, 7:15. Have a very nice day. Ciao.